Welt has been a lifesaver in many fights. This is Kay, and I hope you're all having a great day. In this video, I'll talk about Welt's strengths, weaknesses, best equipment, and why he's such a great unit. So Welt is the only imaginary character in the game, at least for now, which makes him quite unique, although temporary until they introduce more. His main role is a debuffer, primarily in slowing down enemies and imprisoning them, basically giving your team more turns, and that in itself can really impact a fight. His basic attack just hits a single enemy with imaginary. Now his skill hits the target while also giving 2 separate extra hits to random enemies. What's great is that this skill will have a chance to debuff their speed. Now this synergizes well with his talent, in which when attacking enemies that are slowed, it will allow Welt to deal an additional hit. So he's a phenomenal multi-hit unit, and it's natural to see many separate numbers pop up while attacking. His talent would trigger per hit, so if you recall, Welt's skill will actually hit 3 times, once on the target and 2 random attacks. In single target scenarios, for example, Welt can actually hit 6 times per skill use if the enemy is already slowed. So that's quite amazing, especially when breaking the enemy's toughness bar. If you're fighting groups of enemies, on the other hand, it really depends on who is slowed. If everyone is slowed, then he will hit 6 times, although it'll be random targets. Now, his ultimate is his bread and butter, as it's an AoE that can imprison every enemy while debuffing their speed. This is the ability that will allow you to delay, even potentially skip all enemies' turns, giving your characters extra turns to attack, and is most effective when giving you that extra hit that can break enemies, therefore delaying them even further. You can also use it as an interruption in the middle of multiple enemy turns, or prevent them from recovering their break status. Now, using his technique before the battle will slow enemies' movement in the open world, and in battle, it can imprison all enemies and slow them. What's great is that if, for whatever reason, you get ambushed while in his technique's area, it can save you from being attacked, but using his technique in combination with other allies' techniques will give you a huge advantage in battle. For his traces, you obviously want to get them all, but the most important one is Judgment, because you'll want to spam Welt's burst, which leads us to Relics. The best is the Wastelander, since it provides an imaginary boost, and the 4-piece will provide crit rate and damage buff, the latter specifically for imprisoned enemies, so it's practically made for Welt. In terms of main stats, head and hand pieces cannot be changed, but for substats, effective hit rate, since it will improve his debuff chances. Then go with crit values, attack, speed, the usual thing for damage dealers. The body piece should be effective hit rate. Again, he is a debuffer, so you'll want to increase his success rate. For feats, go with speed because you want him to move sooner, or attack if you want him to hit harder. For ornaments, the Pan-Galactic is great, since again increases effective hit rates, but not only that, it gives a boost to attack scaling off of effective hit rates, giving a max of 25% attack boost. Sphere main stats should be imaginary, and the rope should be energy regeneration because you want to spam his ult as much as possible. For light cones, in the name of the world is Welt's best. I mean, it literally has him in the picture. It increases damage to debuff enemies, boosts effective hit rate for his skill, and boosts his attack. Now, not everyone can get this 5-star light cone, in which case resolution shines will be perfect. There's a chance to ensnare enemies when hitting them, and remember, Welt is a multi-hit unit offering more chances to ensnare, but best of all is the defense shred it offers. In higher level challenges, enemies will have a lot of defense and HP, and if you can get higher levels on this light cone, the ensnare rate and defense shred will increase. So it's established that Welt is amazing because he can delay enemies' turns, giving your characters more opportunities to attack. Now, possible weaknesses for Welt is that his imprisoned and speed reduction debuff may not always land. Enemies can have a high debuff resistance, especially in boss battles. Now, Welt's ult, even if it does land, doesn't simply just knock all enemies' turns downward. It will simply increases their action value. So as you can see, the enemy has an action value of 1. Using his ult will extend it to 36, which is still faster than my Yanqing with 48, making his ult more or less useless because it doesn't delay the enemy. Simply put, you have to use it at the right moments to really get the best out of the effect. Another thing is, if you are fighting enemies and you didn't bring a single effective character to break their tough bar, it's almost better to just have another DPS instead of Welt. It's the combination between Welt's debuffs that can delay enemies and breaking enemies' tough bar, which further delays their action, that makes his team so great. If you are in a fight without weaknesses, Welt's not the hardest hitting DPS compared to others, so you might as well just switch him out. The goal is to skip entire enemies' turns by using his debuffs and applying weakness break, so make sure to have at least 2 characters on your team who can break, whether it be Welt and someone else or 2 different units. Overall, Welt's an amazing character. He definitely won't be well suited for every single type of battles, of course not, but in majority of the fights, his delayed playstyle can really be effective. Having him fully built out is where he'll really shine, so towards the late endgame. In terms of teams, having high-speed allies like Zilla and even speed buffers like Asta can create fun combos. In terms of whether to choose them or not after your 300th pull, I'd still go with Bronya, and if you already have her, then Bailu, at least at this stage of the game. Nonetheless, Welt is an amazing character and great to have. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for future Honkai Star Rail videos. Don't forget to comment down below to let me know which 5-star character did you pull on your discounted warp or discounted banner. For me, it was Welt, and of course I got Yanqing and Zilla together, so very lucky there. Till next time everyone, good luck on your pulls.